Caddis Maximus here. This is it. The Vector Tools $18 shipped. Cheapest 11-inch long handle, a quarter-inch drive ratchet on eBay. This thing new is cheaper than a used gear wrench and obviously much cheaper than the Snap-ons, but this thing is terrible. I mean, if you buy this, I'm calling the police. And all I'm going to end up doing with is taking an anvil out of this old quarter-inch breaker bar. It's a bit short and the pin keeps falling out of, and convert it into a long handle breaker bar. It's not even 11 inches. Even measured from the tip of the head to the back of the handle, it's 10 7/8. You're getting about 10 1/4 inches from the anvil itself to the end of the handle, so that's not even a true 11 incher. Has a detent, but it's just so weak, it's just crazy. The worst part about the ratchet mechanism is it is a very cheap mechanism. Tons of anvil play here. And the worst part is this screw here is tight, and you'll see these are like a floating pawl design. Of course, I didn't put any oil in it, but this screw here, I've already checked. Thing's super tight, but it has just such bad tolerances that the reverse lever will pop up. And if you're using it, sometimes the low lever will do this, and it'll spin around in all sorts of crazy positions here. We can even get it to do it the other way, like this, and then definitely no bueno. So these are the type of tools that also show up on lots of just kind of backwater auto parts shops, do it, kind of all-in-one independent department stores, Vector Tools. There is no warranty whatsoever on these either. So really, I was getting it because I kind of wanted to see what it was like. I'm definitely no good. There's actually a lot of good gear wrench deals on eBay, surprisingly enough. But this long handle ratchet here, no, you're going to have to spend more than $18 to actually get one that's worthy. I'll show you the ratchet mechanism here, and then we'll do a couple torque tests on it. And voila, here we are. You can see the issue is it just has these two floating pawls, kind of like the Pittsburgh Pros. Although I don't even think it's this, their implementation of the same design is as good as the Pittsburgh Pros. Two floating pawls, they only have 3 little teeth on them, so that's the problem, is that they can strip out and skip, which is an unfortunate thing. And since the reverse lever, all it's doing is just pushing one pawl out of the way of the other one, that bottom screw is actually what's holding the reverse lever in place. That little screw most times is stopped by a shoulder. This one just appears to stop because the hole isn't deep enough and threaded deep enough in the reverse lever, so particularly cheesy. And just really, it doesn't have super great tolerances in there at all, so this anvil just floats around. Let's do a couple torque tests. Turns out I was able to drive that screw in, so one of the obviously it didn't have a drop of oil in there, but at least one of the factory issues, if you somehow end up with one of these, you can at least put that screw in a little bit tighter so you don't have that issue with the reverse lever just going crazy. So I mentioned the other quality. This head is just all over the place. It has a really narrow tang. Even on quarter-inch drive flex heads, the tang is usually about 5/16 wide, so it's extra thick. So this thing definitely really weak and just tons of space in there. All right, here we are. How do you like that? A snap-on socket on the Vector Research. How's that for a disparity in grades of tools here? And we're just going to go ahead and use my CDI torque wrench here. Don't get torque wrenches with laser etching. These markings are nearly impossible to see, even though this is a phenomenally accurate torque wrench. I've tested it, and it's even been down to a single foot-pound of accuracy. I've just straight up gone to 80 foot-pounds. 100 foot-pounds is what a quarter-inch would be rated for, right around there when it would fail on a professional-grade ratchet, say, anything, a Mac or a Proto. This is a quick release, so there's a little less material, but 80 foot-pounds, that'd be the lug nut on a Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic. And we'll see if it just twists off or if it will actually take it. I got to be careful here. It certainly didn't like that. Okay, so it is a professional grade. Actually, I was assuming that the anvil would have failed here, but the anvil did fail. Let's do a quick analysis here. I'd already hit it with like 50 and 60 foot-pounds, so I was kind of assuming, oh man, now the socket is, well, we can see that it's broken there. Come on, if the camera would focus for me. definitely snapped it off. I would have assumed it would have taken a little bit more torque, so definitely less than 80 foot-pounds. It felt like I was kind of getting close. I suspected this probably would have broke. If I hit it with 60, must have been getting real close. Somewhere between 60 and 80, probably right around 65 or 70 foot-pounds. The real issue with that is I was expending a lot of my energy just trying to keep the torque wrench centered on it so it wasn't slipping off side to side, so I wouldn't be cheating too much by just bending it over to break it, actually applying twisting force. But in a normal bolt situation where the bolt's secured, these long handle 1/4 inch, you're just gonna be grabbing that. You're using 2 hands, and this thing will bust on you. It's just too weak. You can get away with that with, maybe a snap-on long handle, but definitely don't get this Vector Research. Surprisingly enough, I can't remember the last time I broke a quick release, just because I know they're a bit weaker. I've broken a couple solid anvils, but on this one it broke, but the quick release pin kind of acted as a safety mechanism to keep it still attached. So definitely won't hold 80 foot-pounds, and for $18, when you're going to put nearly a foot-long handle on the ratchet, it's got to be stronger than that. Even for that price, it's just pointless when it just is going to break on you. But surprisingly enough, I'll still get some use out of it, because part of the cheesiness of this being just super narrow right here is the fact that this is just a 1/4 inch wide, so it's going to be real easy to convert this into a long handle breaker bar. Anyway, there's my little video on the cheapest long handle flex head ratchet on eBay. I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.